ever made. Let me explain. Say you're fresh out the slammer, you need money, and the only job prospects you have involve running back to the very lifestyle that got you locked up to begin with. Oh, and did I mention your wife also ran off with a rich casino owner?
You know what your problem is?
I only have one.
You've met too many people like you. I'm with Terry now.
Yeah. Instant conflict, anyone?
I know everything that's happening in my hotels.
So I should put those towels back.
Now, in a situation like this, there's only one thing you can do really, and that's round up the old crew for a job that promises to be properly epic, high stakes, literally, and of course perfectly stupid enough to get your friends excited about tagging along.
Yeah, well, say we do all that. We're just supposed to walk out of there with $150 million in cash on us without getting stopped?
Yeah.
So, if you're looking to dive into the vault of cinematic treasures that is Ocean's 11, or as I call it, the greatest heist movie ever made, then let's get into it. Ocean's 11 is the 2001 remake of the Rat Pack-led 60s original. That version is a real sleeper, as in I cannot keep my eyes open when I watch it.
So I'll turn that off, will you?
I'll turn it off when I'm ready to turn it off. It's off, it's off.
This film is directed by iconic minimalist filmmaker Steven Soderbergh and stars one of the greatest all-star lineup casts I've ever seen.
Yes, would you like some tickets?
In the film, Danny Ocean has just been released from prison after serving a sentence for high thievery. Once out, he immediately heads to Las Vegas to begin plotting a simultaneous heist job and revenge scheme to spite his ex-wife's new boyfriend, Terry Benedict, played by Andy Garcia.
Who the hell is this?
The man who's robbing you?
The plan is simple: assemble a crew big enough to pull off the job, and then knock off 3 casinos in one night in the most secure public area in the western United States without getting caught, and then make it out of Vegas scot-free and millions of dollars richer. Sounds easy enough, yeah? Well, did I mention that we're also up against a very short clock to pull this off, so the pressure's on.
It's never been done before, so need planning, a large crew.
Danny starts by recruiting the members of his crew that he knows will join him, and for this story, that's Rusty, played by Brad Pitt.
I'm running away with your wife. Great.
Rusty is mostly retired from the life of crime and is now giving poker lessons to celebrities and largely avoiding any real responsibilities. But he does have big hopes, and Danny's offer just may be big enough to get him on board.
A lot of security, but the take. What's the target? 8 figures each. What's the target?
About 1/3 of this film is dedicated to building the team and introducing us to the characters, and in a heist movie, that can be half of the fun if the story is done correctly, like it is in this movie. With every new recruit, we naturally learn a little bit about the characters, where they're from, where they're at, where they want to go, and what they're like.
I think you dig Provo. I think you could do very well there.
I'll look into it.
We get the iconic Bernie Mac as Frank, R.I.P., and Casey Affleck and Scott Caan as the Malloy brothers, Elliot Gould as Ruben, the guy funding the whole operation, and then there's Tan, the grease man.
We got a grease man. We got a grease man.
Basher the bomb tech, and who could forget Carl Reiner as Saul Bloom.
If you ever ask me that question again, Daniel, you will not wake up the following morning.
They want to rip off the Bellagio, the Mirage, and the MGM Grand, all in one night at an event that will see these 3 casinos potentially paying out high-stakes gamblers. We're talking buku bucks. All the money will be stored in one vault with 360-degree security detail. Ocean and his team need to spread out and establish a way in, through the vault and out of the vault, and then back out of the casino and Vegas before anybody can figure out what happened. Of course, in true heist film fashion, we're in for a twist element to the job that layers the entire thing, and not to mention the heist itself, which is plagued with failures and the need to adapt.
And for God's sake, whatever you do, don't, under any circumstance.
Russ,
Yeah,
can you take a look at this?
sure.
Capturing the excitement of a heist can also be tricky. While films like Heat can be considered among the greatest in the genre, the movie is aided by the addition of incredible action scenes that this film doesn't have, although it's not without its explosions.
Hang on to your knickers.
Instead, Soderbergh shows us the exciting world of white-collar crime with his quick editing techniques, kinetic camera movement, and retro cinematic language that harkens back to the thrillers and adventure films of the 60s. It's visually inspiring and holds a very special place in the heart of my inner filmmaker. The slick directing is also complemented very well by the equally sharp performances from the cast. Clooney acts as the perfect, charming leading man with suave dialogue, a winning smile, and enough mojo to put Austin Powers to shame.
I have his mojo.
Pitt and Clooney have an amazing on-screen chemistry that feels unmatched by any of the co-stars that have shared the screen with either actor.
Why do they always paint hallways that color?
They say taupe is very soothing.
The way the two have this balance of boss and employee and brothers and mentor and Padawan or whatever, it seems like these two really understood the importance of the core relationship between Danny and Rusty, and it works.
This is not your call.
Oh, you made it my call. When you put her before us, you made it mine.
This is my job.
On his own, Rusty is a bit of a young playboy type, and he's also incredibly skilled at what he does, and a wonderful character for us to get attached to. The scene where Rusty pretends to be an FBI agent to abduct Basher from a crime scene during an arrest is a great moment to showcase how slick and swift these guys are.
It's terrific. It'll be nice working with proper villains again.
Also, while we're on the topic, I love Don Cheadle. Alright, I adore Don Cheadle. But the British accent was a bit much, no?
Oh, leave it out.
I also love the individual moments where the crew is working on their own angles and we see the difference between how people shine in different ways. Frank gets what he wants by intimidation, Linus plays the awkward angle and strikes without you noticing, Danny plays the confident, walk in like I own the place thing, and everyone else mostly just creates a scene.
You got in my way. I was trying to deliver my balloons.
Gentlemen!
He's the balloon boy.
So, knowing what we know, what qualifies this as the best heist movie? Well, at the time of its release, it had every single element that we as an audience look forward to in a good old-fashioned Hollywood blockbuster. This was an exciting film for the time, and if you notice the few great heist films since this one, they almost all got at least some inspiration from this one. It takes the concept just serious enough to sell it, but is also self-aware and irreverent enough to make the reality seem a little heightened. Like off the top of my head, as an example, we're able to kind of believe that Danny and his crew can build a one-to-one replica of the Bellagio vault and stage it so that it perfectly matches the feed on the security cameras. I mean, I did say heightened reality, didn't I?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the twist too much here, but all great heist movies need some sort of double cross or surprise third element to it that shocks audiences along with the characters. It helps keep the payoff nice and satisfying. This film does not disappoint with audiences thinking one thing and then by the end being relieved by a twist that reveals that everything went exactly according to plan. Honestly, it's still satisfying to this day. And it's what, like 25 years later? Holy shit.
What happened to all that money?
At the end of the day, Ocean's 11 uses stylized editing and cinematography to bring us into the excitement of a larger-than-life mission that we all fantasize about. And it does so with incredible performances, witty dialogue, interesting characters, high stakes, and of course, a good time at the movies.
I knew what I was doing.
Also, I'm fully aware that it is a completely polarizing statement to make, so if it's not your favorite heist movie, don't get too excited. Just leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite heist movie is. And we can still be friends, I promise. Well guys, if you like this video and want to support the show, please do drop a like on it and share it with your friends who like this sort of content. Also, let me know if you would be interested in seeing coverage on Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13 so that we can get the full trilogy on our hands. Could be fun.
Okay. You're free to go.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Flicks. We're back once again. We're doing this every single Friday, guys. So if you're coming back, hello, and thank you for returning. And if this is your first stream, then please consider coming back for the next one too. Let me pull up the chat here. How's everybody doing tonight? Anybody stoked for any movies this weekend? I know I saw Long Legs last Thursday and loved it. And I'm seeing Deadpool and Wolverine this coming Thursday, but I don't have anything else planned out. So let me know what you guys are seeing. Give me something to check out this weekend. Let me get some music going for us here. Just a little chill, down-tempo music. Hopefully you guys like that. Whoa, the chat's already popping. Hello, everyone. Hello, thank you for being here. All right, let's get some comments. Let's start with some comments. You know, I like to engage with you guys. Now, before we do that, though, I want to talk about kind of what's on deck for this evening. We got, as usual, a great show lined up for you tonight. We got my personal top 10 Nicolas Cage performances. Now, that comes with a few stipulations and things that we're going to talk about, but we'll get to it when we get to it. All right, but for now, I'll take some comments. We also got some like movie news, little things that we'll go over, just things that I found either interesting or worthy of bringing up to you lovely guys who are choosing to spend your time with moi. Paul Simon, sick name. You can call me out. Aloha, gang. Aloha. Hello. Hello from Kuwait? Well, hello. Hello to you as well. What time is it for you? Hopefully not too late or too early. We'll see. Grand Admiral Thrawn, good evening. Welcome back. That's just the name of our video there, Brokert. Yeah, what happened to George Clooney? That was our video that aired today. If you guys want to hear Taylor and Derek's piece on what happened to George Clooney, feel free to go check it out. It's a Cockney accent, not British, like The Boys TV show by Butcher. Okay. Well, right on. Good for you. All right. Thank you guys so much for the... Wow, there's so many comments. I feel like I'm already behind. Thank you all so much for being here. All right, we got some good stuff. Music Man says, I hope The Weatherman is in the top 10. I'm not going to spoil anything, so you have to stick around and find out if it's in there. But if it's not, well, you'll find that out too. Hopefully you'll appreciate the list either way. All right, we got Mike Conway in the house. Yo, hello, Mike. How you doing, buddy? How are you? We missed you last Friday, pal. We missed you. All right. Joker Jack Fitak. I probably said that wrong. Get over it. I'm sorry. I'm trying here. Joker Jack says, just waiting for Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, it's going to be good. I see. Here's what I did. I got tickets for like the earliest showing that I was able to make on Thursday. That's July 25th. And I just wanted to make sure I saw it. Not because I'm not usually the kind of person that needs to be the first to see these superhero movies. And this one, it's not necessarily, even though I am anticipating it highly, it's more that I don't want to have to avoid the internet and avoid spoilers from everybody else who has seen it. You know, and a lot of the content that I'm watching online is about movies as it is, as I'm sure you could have predicted. And I just don't want to have to avoid all that stuff. You know, that's what I'm hoping for. All right. Sorry, guys. Just reading your comments. Ariel Fangirl Mendez, great name, says, hi, when is the next episode of Awfully Good Movies? Well, stick around. We will have that to you as soon as possible, and you're probably going to love what the episode is on. So make sure you check it out, okay? All right, guys. Let's take a break from comments, although I want you to keep commenting, and I'll be pinning ones that catch my eye, but bear with me. You guys usually comment faster than I can read. And I'm not complaining. It's a good problem to have. All right, so let me get my name off of there. You guys know my name by now. So today's going to be fun. We're going to be talking top 10 Nicolas Cage performances. That's going to be the main thing, okay? But we also have a little bit of news. Nothing too sexy, nothing too glamorous. We did get a final trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. We also got a new Beetlejuice trailer. And we are going to talk about that. And the reason we're going to talk about that is because when I saw the teaser, you guys may remember this was months ago now. When I saw the teaser, we watched it together here on live. And I was not impressed. I was actually disappointed because I wasn't feeling the excitement. But then this new trailer came out, this longer trailer that kind of gave me more of a sense of what we're in for. And that we'll talk about. All right. It says we got a comment here says that we didn't like George Clooney's politics in the WTF episode. You know, we have a lot of different creators, and every creator is entitled to write what they feel passionate about. And so, you know, the main thing is, did we cover his career, you know, acolytes and or accolades and his accomplishments? And I think so. And I'm a huge George Clooney fan. Okay, I just covered Ocean's 11. If you watch the pre-show video, big fan of old George Clooney. I think he's one of the most charming dudes. Grand Admiral Thrawn wants Face Off to be on the list. Well, you're gonna love this list then, my friend, because I love Face Off. All right, we will get into it, but first, let's take a look at some stuff. Before we watch the Beetlejuice trailer, I wanted to bring up the Hellboy Crooked Man trailer. I'm gonna turn this down. And I agree, by the way, Brokert Leaving Las Vegas does deserve an Oscar. I love that movie. I love that performance. It might be on this list.
Evil.
If you guys haven't seen, they're doing it again. They're rebooting Hellboy. This is going to be the third the fourth movie, but the third series. You know, we had the Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro outings, which are my favorite. I absolutely love those movies. And then after that, we had the David Harbour-led Hellboy movie, which was disappointing. I saw that movie with my brother and my wife and my sister-in-law, and we did not enjoy it. And then there's this one. This one, when I heard it get announced, I was very excited because it kind of is taking on a little bit of a horror approach, a little more comic factor. If you haven't read any of the Hellboy books, they're dark, you know, they're a little scary. And I was excited, but this trailer to me looks extremely bad. It looks very low budget. I hate the look of Hellboy. You know what? I'm gonna do something for y'all. Let me pull up. I have a closer picture of Hellboy, and I'm gonna pull it up, and we're just gonna talk about it right quick. You know, before we before we dive into the meat and potatoes of tonight's episode. So this is what we're looking at here. Let me switch this. There we go. Let's break it down. Okay, so if you think back to what we wanted Hellboy to look like, we got that with the Guillermo del Toro, Ron Perlman Hellboy films. He had that super protruded brow. He had the underbite that we need from Hellboy has one hell of an underbite. I'm not getting that here. This looks like a guy, and that's what it looks like. It just looks like a guy. This looks like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, but for Hellboy. It looks like Hellboy entered the fucking public domain and somebody got their hands on it. Ugh! Now, admittedly, Esteban says the movie looks darker. Yeah, it's definitely leaning more into the horror side of it. And that's, I mean, I do appreciate that. That is what I wanted. That's why I was excited when they announced the film. But look, even the jacket looks cheap. This guy thinks he's going to step in to the shoes of one Ron Perlman. The man's an institution in and of himself. This guy's going to come in here with this. Now, maybe it'll be good. I'm obviously going to see it anyway as a comic books reader. And as a Hellboy fan, I'm going to see it and hope it's good. But it's just that I hope it's good. And the trailer and the look does not sell me. Yeah, I agree. He looks skinny. Yeah, he looks a little bit anemic. He looks like Hellboy if Hellboy hasn't had his 9,000 calories per day like we know he does. Yeah, it looks like cosplay. It looks like good cosplay. I'm not saying that like the effects team that worked on this did a shit job. All I'm saying is it's not good enough. I'm not impressed, especially with the things that we've already seen. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Looks like you guys pretty much agree. It just doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro would cry seeing those effects. Absolutely. And think about, too, Hellboy, the first one. The Hellboy practicals were amazing. And that was, what, 2003, 5, something like that? We're 20 years down the line, and it looks worse. We're getting worse with every Hellboy installment. What the fuck is going on? I didn't know it was going to go this way, guys. I got a lot of energy today. There's caffeine in this kombucha. And we're not sponsored, but we should be. Reach out if you make kombucha. Yeah. You guys are all making some good points. And yes, practical effects will always beat CGI. In my opinion, and I really mean this, practical effects that look like practical effects are more forgivable than CGI that looks like CGI, if you get what I'm saying. If you see something and it's practical and it doesn't look all that real, you can forgive it because you can kind of lean into the practical nature of it, prosthetics, things of that variety. When it's CGI and it looks like CGI, it just doesn't, it just adds, it immediately unplugs me from whatever I'm supposed to get immersed in, you know? All right, guys, we're making pretty good time. But what I want to do is move on to this new Beetlejuice trailer, and then maybe we'll cover some other movie news. Actually, let's do some more movie news first. Then we'll do Beetlejuice, and then we'll keep it moving from there. But I just want to cover a few things before we get into all the delicious Nicolas Cage performances that we're going to talk about today. And there are many. There's 10, plus some honorable mentions. So that way you guys don't come for me too bad in the comments. Yeah, David Harbour had the look of Hellboy, but, and that's the thing, it's a big old but. Okay, we got this is interesting for those of you that care. I think this is just cool for, you know, fans that are grandfathered into the Dexter universe. We got our first look images at the Dexter origin story. Dexter Original Sin is what they're going with for the title, which I think sounds dumb as hell, but okay. I love Christian Slater. So that's that. That's about the only good news here. Everything else, I don't know. This girl that plays Deb doesn't really look like Deb. I know her, like, I don't know, something else. And the images look good. They do get me excited in a way that, like, there's a nostalgia. For those of you that watch Dexter, you understand. There is a sense of nostalgia seeing these images and kind of knowing what was hinted at in the original series. And I like Christian Slater, so that's cool. But I wasn't all that crazy about the last season of Dexter. Actually, I was until like the last 3 episodes, and then it just completely pissed me off too much to continue. So where we're at now is, oh, and I'm sorry, guys, it should have been like this the whole time. Where we're at now is, you know, it's happening whether we like it or not. So can we lean into it and try to enjoy it for what it's supposed to be? I don't know. I will say I would rather see this than the alleged Harrison spinoff that they were going to give us, which it gave me the fucking chills, the douche chills. I was so angry about that. Because if you guys saw the show, the newest one, New Blood, and you saw they handled him, ugh. Yeah, see, Music Man has it right here. Why are they doing Dexter again? 2 shit endings? Hell no. Yeah, man. The ending to the original Dexter series, unforgivably bad. Right up there with Seinfeld for bad endings. Worse, if you ask me. It hit home in none of the ways that they wanted it to. It didn't have any resonance for the fans to hold on to. And then when they brought it back with Original Sin, I think those first, like, especially that first half of the season was so good. And that first episode was so good. And there was so much promise. And then the more they added to the story, the more they added these elements from outside of the isolated story, the worse it got. And then by the end, and the way they chose to end it, once again, fumbled the goddamn ball. So, whew. Are you guys enjoying the amount of passionate complaining I'm doing thus far? I feel like, as opposed to other Friday nights, I'm a little bit more jacked up this time. I think it might be a mixture of the caffeine, and it's just been a very long week full of stuff, you know, just full of stuff. All right. Now we got to talk about the new Beetlejuice trailer dropped. Finally, we got a proper trailer. It's not the teaser. It's the like trailer official for this movie. And finally, I have something to get excited about. I think this trailer was very good. I'm going to put it on right now. If you guys haven't seen it, it's worth watching on its own. I'm going to be talking over it this whole time, but I'll have you'll be able to hear it in the background. I think this looks good, man. I think Tim Burton needs a win. I think Wednesday.
When you're driving carpool and banging your Pilates instructors to fill the empty voids in your life,
as an Addams Family kind of. But really, what I need from Tim Burton is another theatrical film that brings him back. You know. It's just, I don't want to leave Tim Burton in the 80s and very early 90s where he was at his best and then just, you know, see everything else.
Legend.
I would like for his best movies to be spread out a little bit.
Can they coexist?
Yeah, it's been a long time since he's had one that was really...
Ghosts aren't real. Only gullible people believe that kind of crap.
Knight Rider, will there ever be a new Friday the 13th movie? Not likely. I would say, you know, we'll have to ask Magic 8 Ball, the one true answer. But no, I wouldn't count on it. And those Jason Voorhees rights are still fucked up. And nobody's willing to work together. Everybody wants to be back. Probably not going to happen.
Bob, you and the boys stand guard. Nobody gets through. Let's go, honey.
Oh, I love it, love it, love it. This is where I
seen that shit before in my life. Or
it wasn't the heavy rendition. You know.
Are we doing this?
Beetlejuice. I'm needed upstairs.
You know, Ortega fits in brilliantly with Beetlejuice World. Yeah, fine, I agree, man. General Ortega, Ortega's great in Dark Knight.
I will.
You know, just dark
do the work.
Yep, Bee Gees. Hopefully the Bee Gees don't copyright.
Really more nightmare material.
Confronting the unknown.
Freddie Mercury here. Hello.
Fears.
Well, hi from Beyond the Grave. Betty, big fan. Big fan, buddy.
What the
Yeah. We're gonna get a one.
Thank you all for coming to this special occasion, but right now with like a little privacy.
Oh, so good. Look at that. This could be a win for Burton, man. I hope it is, and I believe it could be. We'll have to see, but I'm excited for it. The one thing that I think is a little maybe confusing still, as far as my excitement for this movie goes, is Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton, and I love Beetlejuice. But Michael Keaton has to find a way to not seem like he's 30-something years older than he was in the original Beetlejuice. He has to find a way to maybe, like, I don't know, he's got to animate himself a little bit. And it looks like it looks like in the trailer he's doing the work. It definitely looks to me like he can do it, but you know, I just want to make sure that I don't go see a Beetlejuice movie and then feel sad looking at, you know, what is he, 70-year-old Michael Keaton playing Beetlejuice. So it looks good, and I'm optimistic, but you know, we all have to have that little expectation control switch in the back of our mind so we can turn it down when it gets too high. Music Man, Keaton will do it. I mean, I believe it. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm one of the few people in the entire world who isn't a hater of the Flash movie. I know that the CGI is bad. I know that the story has problems. I know that the DCU sucks, or the DCEU sucks, but I think the Flash, there's a good movie within the 3-hour movie. There's a good story in there if you can get through the rest of it. And I'm a loyalist for the Flash, so I get through it. As much as I am glad that the Ezra Miller Flash era is over for obvious reasons, and just because Ezra Miller was never really my Flash. You know, but Keaton was not the problem with that movie. I think Keaton did okay in that movie. So all of that to say, I again remain optimistic. Now, let's get into my top 10 Nicolas Cage performances. Okay? For this occasion, I've brought out my Nicolas Cage pillow. By now, you guys have all seen these, okay? But when I got this, it was my, I think, 26th or 25th birthday or something, so years ago. And my buddy from work brought this in and gave it to me, gifted it to me. And I've had it ever since. It's in my office now. And so I work with it every day right here. And I love it. All right, now here's the other thing. This is kind of just full disclosure. I love that quote here. Not the bees, not the bees. If you guys haven't seen Wicker Man, here's a quick disclosure, short for disclosure. This is my top 10 Nicolas Cage performances, not necessarily my top 10 Nicolas Cage movies. Okay, so if you don't see a movie that you love on here, just assume it's because I love that movie too, but Nicolas Cage's performance wasn't anything above the 10 that I have on this list. This is the other thing. And yes, Nicolas Cage comes from a very rich family. He's from the Coppola clan, okay? We're talking Francis Ford. We're talking Roman Coppola. We're talking Sofia Coppola, okay? Yep, that's Nicky Cage. His name was Nicholas Coppola. And Jason Schwartzman is in that family as well. Now you know. Now, movies like National Treasure, okay, or The Rock, those are honorable mentions. They're movies that I love. They're movies that I will watch at any point, at any time. But they're movies where I think the performance of Nicolas Cage wasn't the best part of that movie, whereas in these movies, it is the best part of that movie. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I hope you all still love me. Let's get into it. Number 10. We're going from 10 to 1, by the way. So my favorite one's going to be at the end. We're starting with 10. We're going down. Here we go. Number 10. We got Con Air.
Appears the United States
Con Air. Cameron
Commission.
Poe. Now, if you guys are a Nicolas Cage fan, okay, you're at least familiar. You've probably seen Con Air. Everybody's seen Con Air. But if you haven't,
Put the bunny back in the
you've
box.
seen Nicolas Cage in this movie. It's been memed.
I knew you
It's
was
a
a
GIF.
punk.
It's
And I was right.
a meme and a GIF,
You were
you know?
playing
It
us
gets
all
sent out at every
wrong.
call center in the United States for
You
every
are
good
free
thing that
man.
happens.
I
Put the
said,
bunny down. Yeah, why couldn't you just put the bunny back in the box?
Back in the box.
Put the bunny back in the box. Now, the reason why this is number 10, the reason why this is on the list is because Nicolas Cage, this is during peak. I feel like he's having a run. I really do. But this is Nicolas Cage putting on a southern accent, playing a guy that's oddly likable in a role that's very challenging to be likable in. got good dialogue. I even think, and it's weird, Nicolas Cage and actors have a unique history, I believe. But this, like, deep Southern works.
Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box? Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box? He sounds like Colonel Sanders, but sexier. He sounds like a sexy Colonel Sanders. There's a movie about that, too, if you guys didn't know. There's a movie about a sexy Colonel Sanders, and Mario Lopez plays him. So there's that piece of information if you didn't have it. So Con Air is number 10. Now, I think as we go down the list, I'll spend more and more time talking about each performance, but we got to get through 10 of them, and there's some that I know I'm going to talk for a long time about. So I just want to make sure that every movie gets its due diligence, especially based on my personal pref. You know what I'm saying? All right, so number 9, don't come for me, is Renfield. If you haven't seen Renfield, you got it.
Feeling much better.
If you haven't seen Renfield, please watch it. It's Nicolas Cage kind of doing Bela Lugosi Dracula, but with all that Nicolas Cage-ness in it.
I'm the Prince of
and it's incredible stuff. Here's why this is on the list, okay? Again, this isn't my top 10 Nicolas Cage movie. So it's not that I like this movie better than The Rock or better than On Air.
The Lord of Death.
But the performance of Nicolas Cage in this movie is something else.
However,
he goes to places to be Dracula that Nicolas Cage was born to go to. This is one of those roles I really think feels like the dream come true for the actor. And that's filling out. He put so much into being this flamboyant, kind of weird, calm, oddly, weird cadence Dracula. Kind of a mixture of like Bela Lugosi
obviously
and
we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism.
And Castor Troy from Face Off. It's just so good.
I should never have forsaken you.
I see, Conway, you put your top 10 in the chat. Thank you for that. It looks similar to mine.
Everything.
I'll tell you that.
I gave you the choice between the power of
now, of course, Nicholas Hoult was also great in this movie, but Cage was the reason why this movie did the viral rounds that it did when it came out. It's because it's just so weird, and so authentic at the same time. This feels like Nicolas Cage. In fact, I bet that was his jewelry that he wore as Dracula. I bet that was his own jewelry.
These are good people.
If you guys haven't seen this movie, I don't want to spoil it. I probably and it won't matter much, but I did an episode of Modern Horror, Real Horror with Tyler Nichols. When this movie first came out, and we both had a lot of fun with it. One of the things that I love the most about Nicolas Cage kind of, with everything against him and he's going to be compared directly to the best that I've ever played Dracula. He's got these big teeth in that look like it's hard for him to close his mouth. He's got heavy amounts of makeup. Half of the movie, he's in like quickly dying Dracula kind of look, and it's a lot. So he really put a performance behind all of these impossible kind of setbacks that make it difficult to put on a performance, and for that, got to give it to him. Hello, Ragnar. We're talking about my top 10 Nicolas Cage performances, not movies. Say it with me, everybody. Performances, not movies. And we're on number 9, which was Renfield, when Nicolas Cage played Dracula. And it was amazing. What I've done here, too, for the clips, just so that we're all on the same page, the clips that we're watching, I pulled just my favorite demonstration of Nicolas Cage from each movie. So some of these clips are a little shorter, some of them are a little longer, but what I wanted to do was make sure that we had a good demonstration of each performance to go with each movie, so that way you guys aren't, you don't just hear me say Renfield and then not know what that looks and kind of feels like. Jaffiel. All right, my dudes, we are at number 8. So we've done Con Air, Cameron Poe. We've done Renfield, Dracula. Now, this is one that maybe you haven't seen, but if you haven't, please give it a chance. It is worth it. This is Nicolas Cage in Pig.
I just want to know
P-I-G,
about the pig.
Pig. Came out,
Tell me you
I don't know, 2019, 2020, something like that.
Come on.
Dude, this movie kind of fucked me up, like on an emotional level, kind of. I watched it very late night. It was like a random like Sunday night or something. It was kind of rainy. It was stormy. It was probably 2 a.m. Couldn't sleep. Did what I always do. I put on a nice film. And I had been hearing that this one was good. This was, years ago. I've been hearing that this one was good. It just came out on digital, so I rented it kind of on a whim, thinking I would fall asleep and finish it the next day. Wasn't that serious about it, but I got sucked in. This movie is good. It's very good. Nicolas Cage plays a chef named Rob, Chef Rob. I can't remember his full name.
But I actually
and this scene is incredible, by the way. But he plays a chef who's kind of retired, but he was a famous chef. Let's say like a Gordon Ramsay, okay? A respected, revered, famous cook. And he retires and kind of becomes a recluse. He moves off to the woods and just cooks his own food, lives in a little cabin, completely analog, no technology, nothing. All he has is this adorable little truffle pig. Okay?
It's my pig.
That he's not gonna cook.
That's great.
He just uses him to sniff out truffles and eat their truffles together. Now, in the cooking world, truffle pigs are a big deal because they can sniff out truffles, which are a delicacy and a very expensive food. It's a mushroom that you can use to make all kinds of delicious things.
But I'm running a business.
So, as a result of this, his pig is stolen by somebody in the local cooking scene. And it becomes a kind of John Wick hunt for Nicolas Cage's Chef Rob to venture back into the world out of the woods to find who stole his pig and get the pig back if he can. I'm not going to tell you what happens. You really should see this movie. I also wouldn't recommend. This is one of those ones, it's hard to recommend to somebody if you don't know what they like. Because I would say if you like John Wick, you would like this, but the vibe of the movie is not the same. This isn't a shootout movie. It's not an action movie or a kung fu movie. It's like, what if John Wick happened to a chef, to just a guy who's a chef? Although he is a badass, he takes real good beatings in this film.
And just deconstructing them, making the
incredible stuff. But truthfully, one you just have to see. I don't want to spoil it too much. His performance is so good, though. You know how you kind of have the. I'm going to maximize my screen here just so I can give you guys some variety. But please go watch that movie. You know how Nicolas Cage kind of has these pockets of performances. You have like Nicolas Cage being eccentric and weird, or Nicolas Cage being kind of crazy and psychopathic and erratic. Sometimes you get Nicolas Cage just doing a subtle, soft, calm, and understated performance, and that's what Pig is. Pig is Nicolas Cage playing a normal guy without the eccentricities that make Nicolas Cage a figure or a meme. It's just him giving himself space to do nothing except for react and not act. So I would recommend it. This is a movie I think that would turn somebody who likes Nicolas Cage as a meme, versus somebody like, you or I'm assuming, who like Nicolas Cage as an actor and just appreciate that his style of acting and his vibe is its own thing. And he's very good at that thing. So, this is the movie that'll kind of turn you around. So, yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. And to answer your question, Ragnar, leaving Las Vegas is going to be on this list somewhere, but I'm not going to tell you where or what scene I picked. You'll just have to wait. And for Brad, Raising Arizona, absolute banger of a movie. It's an honorable mention. It's not going to pop up on this list, though. I think Cage is amazing, and I think that movie is amazing, but I don't think Cage's performance in that movie was top 10, I think that makes sense. Yeah. All right, so number 7. This is one for you guys. You guys will love it.
Go away, goddammit.
Adaptation.
You know, I'm just trying to do something.
This movie is Charlie Kaufman doing Charlie Kaufman things and Nicolas Cage playing Charlie Kaufman.
Okay, there's a serial
doing
killer,
them
right?
Things. This
Well,
movie
no, wait, and
is
he's being
so
hunted
good.
by a cop,
and so
and he's taunting the cop,
heady
right? Sending
and
clues who his
kind of
next victim
cerebral,
is.
and I
He's
love
already
it.
holding her hostage in his
Obviously,
creepy
this has to be
basement.
top
So the
10
cop
for
gets
Nicolas
obsessed
Cage
with figuring out her
performances
identity,
for
and in the
two
process,
reasons, maybe three.
falls in love with her.
Let's start with the
Even though
obvious.
he's never
Number
been
one,
met.
he's playing
She
two
becomes
people. He's playing Charlie
like the
Kaufman
Holy Grail.
and Donald
It's a
Kaufman,
little
who
obvious,
is
don't you think?
Charlie.
Okay, but here's the twist. We find out
So
that the
these
killer
two
really
are
suffers
they're
from
kind of
multiple
opposites.
personality
They're
disorder,
similar in some
right?
ways, but they're
See,
very
he's
different
actually
in
really
most
the
ways.
cop and the girl. All
And
of them
Nicolas
are
Cage
him.
has to convince us
Isn't that
that
fucked
they're
up?
both real. I hope he got
The only
paid.
idea,
I know he
more
probably
overused than
didn't,
serial
but I
killers,
hope he
is
got
multiple
paid
personality.
twice
On
as
top of
much
that, you
for this
explore the
movie.
notion that
Because
cop
to
and
be a
criminal
lead
are really two
is one
aspects of
thing,
the
but to
same
be a
person.
lead
See, every
co-starring
cop
with
movie ever made
yourself
for other
is another
examples of
thing.
this.
But to be a
Not
lead
called
co-starring
psychologically
with
false.
yourself, playing
The
two
other thing
different
is, there's
versions
no
of
way to
yourself
write
that couldn't be
this.
more
Can you
different, having to
consider
snap
that?
in and out of those two.
I mean, how could you
You know,
have somebody held
stop me if
prisoner
I'm
in a
wrong
basement
here, but what the hell? That's
and
amazing
working in a police station
stuff
at the same time?
to be able to pull off for a movie that would go on to receive acclaim
Okay,
from
that's
just
not what
about
I'm
every
asking.
critic, you know?
Listen closely. What I'm asking
I really
is,
honestly
in
can't,
the reality of this movie,
I really,
where there's only one
I
character,
should have put this higher on the
right?
list. You can see me
Okay.
live realizing that.
how could you?
But this is a great performance. It's just Donald
exactly
pitching Charlie
would-
on the idea of a cop movie with one
I agree
character,
with Mom.
and the
Very
one
taut,
character is the
civil
cop,
beats. I don't know.
and they're
Dressed
kind
to
of
Kill.
deconstructing the
Cool.
idea
I really like Dressed to
together.
Kill.
And
Until the third
what I
act
love
anyway.
about the performance
That's not
is
how it's
just that there's so much range. It's varied. He's also playing somebody, and I think for Nicolas Cage, that's ballsy, even at this time, because Nicolas Cage is a specific actor. He's a specific type of actor. So if you're gonna hire Nicolas Cage to play somebody, it's got to be somebody he's kind of already similar to, or he's got to do what he did in Adaptation and fucking nail it and just channel it and not make a mistake. This should have been higher on the list. I'm gonna say it. I love it. But the other thing I love about this scene in specific, with the two pitching ideas to each other, is that this reminds me so much of me and my brother
I'm just trying to do
when we were kids, and even now. We make films together. We still make things. And when one of us has an idea, this is very much the way that these conversations go.
Okay, there's a
And
serial
it's
killer,
so
right?
much fun to see
Well, no, wait, and he's being
the
hunted
kind
by a
of
cop.
annoyance
taunting
in
the
one of
cop,
them
right?
and excitement in the
Sending
other,
clues
and then
whose
how they
next
kind of
victim is.
flip
He's already
throughout the
holding her
movie.
hostage in his creepy
You know,
basement.
I
So
love
the
it.
cop
I love it.
Gets obsessed with figuring out her identity, and in the process, falls in love with her, even though he's never even met her. She becomes like the unattainable, like the Holy Grail.
Okay, sorry. I just got caught up watching that scene and reading your guys' comments. I don't know how long I was quiet for, but please forgive me. All right. So that was number 7. We have Con Air at 10, Renfield at 9, Pig at 8, Adaptation at 7. Now, this next one is going to be one that I saw mentioned in the comments a couple of times already, and that is Mandy. If you guys haven't seen this movie, I don't even know properly how to describe it to you, and I won't, because this is definitely not a movie you want to be explained to you before you see it. This is a movie you want to go in kind of stoned and just kind of ready for whatever. This is that kind of movie. This movie will rock you awake. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Brian Stevens, hang on. Let me pause this video. Let me go full screen. Brian, don't go anywhere. Brian, look at me. Look at me, Brian. I hope you're still here. Brother, please stick around if you want to talk Matchstick Men, because that is on this list, and it's on this list very highly. So please stick around, because I would love for somebody else who's seen that movie to hear this. So please, Brian, stick around. Whew. That got weird, didn't it? How much do I love that movie for it to get that weird? Okay. Fuck me. All right, so Mandy, back to Mandy before I got distracted. This movie is bizarre. It's kind of a spiritual connection to color out of space. Nicolas Cage plays a different character, whatever. In this movie, he plays a guy named Red, and his girlfriend Mandy. I don't want to give you guys too much. Get taken by a cult. Just see the movie. Nicolas Cage's performance, and in this scene, is so over the top. Remember I said about Nicolas Cage's pockets of performance. This one is in that god tier of like he threw subtlety out the window and just leaned all the way into what it would be like to truly lose your shit. Your shit. And it's fucking nuts, you guys. Look at this. I'll make it here. I'm gonna rupture something, man. Do you guys know what this kind of scene? I hope some of you get this, but tell me that this doesn't seem like it would be one of those new like TikTok trends for like how to get abs without working out, to just like sit on your fucking toilet and scream. I can totally see that being like, you can imagine the TikTok Jeffrey Wright like AI voice, like, never have to work out for your abs again. Sit on the toilet and scream like Nicolas Cage and Mandy, and you'll have a fucking six-pack by the end of summer. I hope you guys are laughing out there, or else I'm just a dumbass laughing here by myself. But he drank real alcohol for this. Oh, yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did. You know, he did for Leaving Las Vegas, which we're going to talk about soon. All right, so yeah, Mandy, great movie. A little bit on the horror side. It's a horror movie, I would say. It's good. It's really good. And then also the other thing that I would maybe warn you about with this movie is this is maybe one that you don't want to watch during the day. It's a very dark movie, like in tone, but also visually. The cinematography, the color palette is amazing. It's very colorful and strong lights, but also very strong shadows and contrasty. So, you know what I'm saying? Just be weary of such things. All right, let's get on to the next one. Halfway down the list. Next, we have Long. Now, this one, I didn't pull a scene from the movie. And the reason that I didn't pull a scene from the movie is because the movie just came out. They've been very tight on the way that they're marketing things. And Nicolas Cage's character is meant to be a reveal and a surprise in the movie. Therefore, I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to show you guys anything, even if I had stuff to show, which I kind of don't. You know, I don't really have much anyway. But guys, Nicolas Cage's performance in Longlegs, I won't spoil the movie. I know it's too new, so I'm not going to spoil it. Heard around spoilers. But just to talk about Nicolas Cage's performance, you guys have probably heard all of the hyperbolic nonsense that people are saying, like, if you didn't tell me it was Nicolas Cage, I wouldn't have known it was Nicolas Cage. I don't want to set any unrealistic expectations. I knew it was Nicolas Cage. I could tell by his voice that he was Nicolas Cage. You can tell kind of when you see his face. You can kind of tell that it's Nicolas Cage. I will say, incredible performance in my top 10. It's above some of his classic fare. So I love it. I'm not talking shit. But let's not get fucking carried away with every new movie and say that an actor who wore a prosthetic looks unrecognizable. That became cool when Colin Farrell transformed into the Penguin, and it was cool before that when somebody else transformed into somebody else. I get it. It's nice to give the praise when somebody does a good job. Nicolas Cage should be awarded for his performance in Longlegs. It's that good. It's that scary. It's that uneasy. But it's not unrecognizable Nicolas Cage. For example, something people are talking about, and you've probably heard, this is not a spoiler, but something you've heard, or something that happened that you've probably heard. There's a point in Longlegs where Nicolas Cage kind of sings a little bit of a song to somebody. And it's not what you think, I promise. It's very unique. And it's very it makes you feel very uneasy. It's very scary. But I'm hearing people say that they can't even tell it was Nicolas Cage in that scene. And all I have to say to that is watch Kick-Ass, because it's in there. When Nicolas Cage is getting burned alive in Kick-Ass, and he's like, "Switch to kryptonite." You guys remember? Oh my fucking God. I can't believe I did that, but I did it. Deal with it. When he does like that kind of, it's, you know, it's not unrecognizable. It's just very good acting. You know what I'm saying? But it is, you know, it's him. It's, you look at Nicolas Cage, even with all of the prosthetics, and I promise you guys, he looks different. Nicolas Cage doesn't look like Nicolas Cage in this movie. He looks very different, but he doesn't look unrecognizable. Okay. Without spoilers, what I can say really sells this movie for me, Long Legs, about Nicolas Cage's performance and why I think it cracked the top 10. Thanks, Mike, for the love, man. What Nicolas Cage does in Long Legs that I think is worthy of putting him in the top 10 of any Nicolas Cage thing, even movies. This movie is very good, but his performance was especially good. And the thing that did it was, you're looking at Nicolas Cage's eyes in the movie, and they don't show his eyes very often. But when you look into his eyes, the entire time, he looks like he wants to cry. His eyes are welling up every single time. He looks uncomfortable. He looks unsure. He looks like he's maybe being told what to do, being controlled by something else. And all of that is exactly what we're supposed to be getting from the character. His name in the movie is Long Legs. That's what they call him. And I don't feel that Nicolas Cage would say, "Oh, this was my best performance that I've ever done." But I bet he would say that this was one of the most challenging, in that he's an actor who's been around for 30 plus years. He's been in some of the greatest movies ever made. He's one of the greatest actors. Arguably, he's had one of the most interesting careers, if nothing else. He's not nervous on a film set. So he had to give these uncomfortable, welling up eye looks, these little glances. He had to do this acting with his face underneath prosthetics that truly was created by his creativity and by the writing of Oz Perkins. That performance, like, it solidified Nicolas Cage's. He didn't just make a comeback. He came all the way back and then went further than he ever has. It was truly special. The reason it's not higher is because his other performances on this list are that fucking good. So let's get into it. Broker just says, Chloe Grace Moretz. Yeah, amen. She did steal the show as Hit Girl in Kick-Ass. Absolutely. All right. So we talked about, so far we've covered Con Air, Renfield, Pig, Adaptation, Mandy, and now Long Legs. Now I'm going to do one. This one is for all y'alls. This one's for the homies. Face Pop. Face Pop, baby. We're talking Travolta, Sean Arthur. We're talking Cage, Castor Troy. Okay, this movie partially defined my childhood. I'm sure, you know. I think the reason I smoked cigarettes for so long, I don't now, but the reason I did for so long, I think, was this movie. And I'm not joking. That's probably true. Yeah, I agree. Brian Cage always gives 100. He does, and he'll say that too. I love Nicolas Cage's attitude, and it's always kind of been, it doesn't matter if it's a big movie or not. If he wants to do it, he's going to do it, and he's going to do it as if it is going to be a big movie. It isn't the only thing. Can you ever hate somebody for that? I love that. And I think that, yeah, it's let his career in strange places and maybe slow places for movies. Who gives a shit? Not everything you do is going to be amazing. I bet Gordon Ramsay's made some, I can compare some, I bet Gordon Ramsay's made some pretty shit movies. An accident, you know? Oh man, I love this movie. Casper fucking Troy. Now here's the thing, this movie was hard to find a clip for, and I'm going to tell you why. And for those of you that have seen this movie, you'll get it. It's because Nicolas Cage as Castor Troy isn't in the movie all that much. It's because most of the movie, Nicolas Cage is playing Sean Archer, John Travolta's character. Okay, who it's like this. You have Castor, who is a fucking nut job. Okay, he's crazy, he's eccentric, he's weird. He's like Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy in the Venom sequel. Holy shit, he's just like that, only good. And I love Woody Harrelson. No disrespect at all, ever. But man, my man in that movie, Nicolas Cage in this movie, they're the same, I swear. But then most of the movie, they swap. So most of the movie is Nicolas Cage trying to do kind of an impression of Travolta, and then vice versa, Travolta doing an impression of Cage. The level, this would also be, by the way, in my top 10 Travolta performances, so no shade, but we're talking about Cage today. Nicolas Cage does this thing, he has this line, and I'm not going to say it because it makes me cringe, like not cringe in a bad way, just it's kind of gross to say, but he has this line he says in Face Off that is supposed to be scary and creepy, and it is. I'm a grown man and it's still scary and creepy, but it also is supposed to be a little bit alluring and kind of sexy, and it's also that. So it's a very interesting line because it is kind of, there's a dichotomy kind of to it inherently, but then delivered by Nicolas Cage, it's even more fucked up. It's like, what is going on here? You don't know how to feel, and it's delicious, and I love the performance and I love the movie, and I think Castor Troy is one of the coolest fucking character names I've ever heard. I hope you agree. We need a YouTube movie critic movie. Can I do it? I'm around. Hey, I'm available. I think Quentin Tarantino wanted to make a movie about me. It's called Another White Guy with a Beard on the Internet, the movie. Talking about movies on the movies. All right. We're almost done with the list, guys, but we're going to start moving through it here. Next, we've got Nicolas Cage.
What are you talking about?
Himself.
We haven't worked since you were 15. 41 years.
Do you guys see
on the call,
this movie?
Student film.
Music Man, I don't want to
it's a
tell
good
you the
idea.
line, man.
Listen
It's
to
just a
me.
line that he says to a
Nick
chick, and it's kind of just, it just sounds, if I said it, it would sound gross. So when he says it, it sounds cool. When I say it, it would sound,
Whoa, Cage! Eddie doesn't need a struggling artist for a father. She needs you to be a star.
He leaned all the way into that one, too. Nicholas.
Not that we went anywhere. Not that we went in.
God, I love this movie. Do you guys remember the scene in this movie where he does LSD with Pedro Pascal with Javi, and they're trying to escape what they think is somebody watching them? If you haven't seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is the name of the movie, Nicolas Cage, he needed this needed to go on the list. And oh, hold on, I'm sorry to get caught up, but these comments sometimes distract me. Gabe, we did this a little earlier, but Gabe, look at me. I'm so glad that you brought up Matchstick Men. Yes, we are going to talk about it. It's higher up on this list. It's higher up. So we're going to talk about it. We might even talk about it for a while because I love it. Yes. But Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, come on. It's Nicolas Cage playing a version of himself. In interviews, Cage has said it's not him. It's fully a character. But there's pieces like the fact that he's not good with money. There's pieces of it that are rooted in true stories at the very least, right? Obviously. And he's literally playing Nicolas Cage in the 90s or in the 80s here in this scene. Dude, the humility that it takes for Nicolas Cage, and I actually felt really bad for him. Nicolas Cage is a great actor. And especially like in the 90s, he was respected as an acclaimed actor. He's got an Oscar. And then, oh, thank you, Fabio Cortez. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that. Fabio Cortez, big shout out to you, buddy. But then he became a meme. Nicolas Cage then became a meme that people made fun of. And that really, I think, can make or break a career, because if you become kind of a meme, your only option is to then become a parody of yourself. and to only just be known and to lean into that one thing. But Cage became a meme, and then kind of like the meme power leveraged a renaissance for this man that took his performances to the next level. Like almost every big movie he's had come out lately has been critically acclaimed and a box office at least success in some, maybe not, I don't know how successful Renfield was, but like, the critical acclaim was there. It's just amazing to me. An Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is the ultimate testament to that. He's playing himself as a joke. I think the last line of the movie is him asking his daughter to watch Paddington 2, which is a great movie and you should watch it. Paul King rules. But it's just crazy that like this is a guy who's not on the internet, who tries to avoid the memes because he doesn't like being a meme, and he did it. Fabio, yes. I'm sorry, brother. I just finished talking about Long Legs. It was right there in the middle of my list. It is one of my favorite Nicolas Cage performances of all time, but we did already talk about it, pal. I'm sorry, man. All right, we got a couple more to get through, and then I got some plugs. Leaving Las Vegas. You guys knew this was coming. I mentioned it a little earlier.
I am going to buy you a drink.
No,
I am going to buy you.
Not. I know the fan favorite scene is probably when he's talking to the escort woman in the room.
Ben.
Benny Goodman,
that's me. I think you're sexy.
I feel that scene was a little too long.
Like a kitty cat. You turn me on.
And this is a great demonstration of Nicolas Cage doing what he does and what he did. Unfortunately, I know Nicolas Cage was drunk for real for a lot of this, and I don't think that, like, I don't want to sit here and say and encourage that kind of thing. Like getting drunk at your job is probably not great.
There we go. Yes.
But if you think about what it did actually do for the authenticity of this performance, I mean, it is hard to say that he looks back and probably regrets it. I bet he doesn't regret it because he gave an incredibly real performance. Conway, have I seen him reciting The Telltale Heart? Yes, of course. Nicolas Cage and Edgar Allan Poe together? That's my Friday night, brother. Yeah, I mean, Leaving Las Vegas is...
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you... Apologies here. I saw you thought this would be higher. This is number 2 on the list. There's only one more other than this one. So this is almost as high as it could possibly be on this list. This is genuinely... This might actually be my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. It's sad and it makes me feel sad when I watch it. But I like the kind of... I don't know. I like the kind of grittiness of this movie. And there also is like a strange optimism to it, right? To Leaving Las Vegas. Good soundtrack as well. But seeing him play Ben and seeing a man who... what's the best way to say it? Seeing a man who is sick, genuinely sick, and at first doesn't necessarily think he needs help, to come to the rock bottom point of realizing that, you're causing these problems because of this addiction. It's just a movie that I think it's like Requiem for a Dream is a good warning against drugs. This is kind of a movie against kind of the whole lifestyle of Las Vegas. In a way, it's an indictment of the lifestyle, but I like it. Mark McCarthy, Willy's Wonderland. Yeah, here's the thing. I know a nonverbal performance for Willy's Wonderland is something that was one that got people talking because it was a nonverbal. Nicolas Cage had no lines and he was the lead in the movie. But that was not one of his best performances. It's not even close. Probably not even an honorable mention. Sorry. Yeah, the soundtrack to this, I agree, is great. That's what I was saying before. So good. All right, let's get to number 1. So let's recap what we have so far. We have number 10, Con Air, Cameron Poe. Number 9, Renfield, Dracula. Oh, Mark, I figured it was a joke. Sorry, bud. If I sounded too serious, I figured it was a joke. And no Vampire's Kiss on here. That performance was too much for me. So number 8, we've got Pig. Number 7, Adaptation. Number 6, we have Mandy. Number 5, Long Legs. Then we have Face Off, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, Leaving Las Vegas, And number one, now let me say one more thing. Okay, to everybody telling me what should be on this list, this ain't my favorite Nicolas Cage movies. This is my favorite Nicolas Cage performances. You know what I'm saying? And it is different because, for example, I'll give you a really good example, actually. The best movie that Robert De Niro is in is probably not my favorite Robert De Niro performance. You know what I mean? It might be that like The Fan is his best performance, but it's not my favorite Robert De Niro movie. It's just maybe his best performance. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's different. Let's get into number one. For those of you that have been following along, you'll notice there's one thing I kept saying I was going to mention that I haven't mentioned yet. Matchstick Man.
Something of a clean
this
slate,
is not only, hang on, this one deserves a proper intro. I'm coming back full screen. Yes, 8mm was awesome. So was Gone in 60 Seconds. I see your guys' comments. I agree. All good stuff. My number one Nicolas Cage performance is his performance in none other than Ridley Scott's Matchstick Men. Matchstick Men is the most underrated movie like ever. It's a Ridley Scott movie, first of all, with Nicolas Cage and Sam Rockwell as the leads. Hello? Are you kidding me? This movie is fucking amazing. And Brad, no, Snake Eyes was good, but again, not his best performance. And yeah, 8mm is an awesome movie, not his best performance though. Face Off was once a guilty pleasure, not for me. Face Off has always been just a straight on pleasure. And yeah, Matchstick Men, they play con man. So here's the deal. Let's get to Matchstick Men. Okay. Sorry if I'm getting distracted. I just love talking to you guys.
Well, you're something of a clean slate, Roy.
Matchstick Men is a movie about a con man named Roy Miller, played by Nicolas Cage. Okay. He plays a con artist with severe OCD. And he's, I believe, also on the spectrum. So he's got these kind of physical tics. You'll see this scene. Let's just watch this scene.
But you don't
I'll
know
be a
what
little bit
con.
more quiet.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, they were these little pink tablets. I think it said CRC on them, something like that.
Conway, you gotta see this movie.
Yes,
bro.
I was getting them illegally.
So,
so what?
Why?
So I wouldn't have to talk to somebody like you. Do you know what they were?
Yes. And at the
this is his
dosage
best
you say you're
performance.
taking,
Even
say
like
you're
this
lucky to
scene,
be
this
sitting
scene,
up
this is his best scene. I was
great.
between this
Can you
one
give
and
me
the
some more
scene
of
where
them?
he has a panic attack.
You certainly get to the point.
Well,
In
and
this
you
scene,
skirted,
he's
so
talking
can
to
you
a
get me pills or
therapist
not?
because he needs his pills for his
Well,
OCD.
then let's get that prescription
he's got a new
pad out.
therapist that he has to talk
Well,
to get
usually
the
I don't
prescription,
prescribe
and he's not
medicine unless
comfortable.
I've had a little chat with the patient first. If you're inclined against that, then the session will be quite brief.
Okay, so what makes this my favorite performance? I don't want to take up too much of your guys' Friday night, but he's got to balance a lot for this movie. One, he's the lead of the movie. The whole thing is about him. He's a con man who is trying to balance pulling off one last job with finding out he's a father and dealing with terrible OCD that puts his job and livelihood in danger multiple times. He's got a lot of problems. He has to manage a very interesting story.
I don't like being outdoors, which I know is called agoraphobia, right?
Unrelatable character.
But
He's not a guy that we can relate to. He's a guy that has to open his door and close it 5 times, 3 times.
Especially around moldings. I don't like it when people
He's
put
a guy that
shoes on
puts
my
on
carpet.
rubber gloves before
Obviously, I have a lot of
puts
ticks.
anything in the garbage
Find it
can.
very frustrating, to
He's a-
say the
he's a-
least.
he's a
Certain
neurotic,
things
super
distract
neurotic.
me, make me feel
And
sick to my
Nicolas Cage
stomach.
does this
These
thing in this
distractions
movie
affected your
where
work of
he
late?
plays it so
In
sincere.
personal relationships?
And his eye contact with people is so unique in this movie. He kind of does this thing
What
where he makes
personal
eye contact
relationships?
with you.
When was the last
But
time you were in one?
instead of looking
relationship?
at you, like what
With
I'm
a
doing
woman?
now, he'll put his head
A
down
long
and
time
look
ago.
up at you,
5 years?
which makes you look a little bit more
10
insecure,
years?
Keep
and
going,
sincere,
man.
or something. And
What was the name?
I don't know. It just adds to this character, Roy, in such a way that.
Heather.
Oh, good
Were you
God
married?
damn! I love this movie. I'm kind
Uh-huh.
of getting emotional
It's-
thinking about some of the,
Maybe.
some of the.
You haven't seen it since?
I don't know. Just the
Look, she left me
praise
with a
that this
black
movie has
eye,
missed out
which
on,
I gave her, and a
recognition.
bun in the oven, which might have come from anyone. So, no, I haven't.
So my number one Nicolas Cage
Look, Doc, I
performance
spent last
of all
Tuesday-
time is Matchstick Men by Ridley Scott. Please go. If you guys have not seen this movie, go track it down. You can rent it on Prime. I'm sure you can find it on physical if you're a physical media person. It's worth watching. It's from the director of Alien and Gladiator. That should say something, okay? And it's a heist movie. Essentially, it's a heist movie with two incredible leads, Sam Rockwell and Nicolas Cage. And it came out in 2003. This was before Nicolas Cage was like a meme, you know? And dude, god damn it, this movie is so good. There's a scene where he runs out of his medication and he's supposed to be focused. This whole time, him and Sam Rockwell's character are plotting kind of the big dirty, their one last job. And he's supposed to be focused. He can't focus because he doesn't have his medicine. And there's a scene where Sam Rockwell's character comes over to his house, which is immaculately neat because of his OCD. And Nicolas Cage is having a panic attack because Sam Rockwell's eating on the carpet, like eating over the carpet. And the scene is so raw. It feels different from every other scene in the movie because it feels like we're not supposed to be seeing it almost. It feels like an honest moment. And it was just so good. Deadfall, I think, okay, I'll tell you what, Music Man, we'll give Deadfall an honorable mention, but I don't think his performance was the standout of the movie. I think that it's just a good movie. So let's not confuse it too much, you know. Some movies are good without Nicolas Cage just being in them, you know. Like Kick-Ass or Across the Spider-Verse, I didn't want to put those movies on my honorable mentions because even though they're good and his performance in them is brilliant, it's like he's such a small piece of it. Maybe Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is an honorable mention, actually. Sorcerer's Apprentice. Yeah. Or Season of the Witch. How about that? Yeah, the pharmacy scene in Matchstick Men, also great. Great stuff. All right, guys, let's do some plugs. If you guys want to grab some of your favorite movie quotes on t-shirts, you can visit our Joe Blow merch store. Guys, these shirts are actually, they're really good. I wear them. I have some. The fabric is high quality stuff. And the nice thing about these shirts is they're cool because you can wear them. You know, they got their movie quotes on them. They have some stuff, but they're kind of subtle. It's like, it's not an obvious thing that says I'm wearing a movie t-shirt. It's kind of subtle. It's like, if you've seen the movie, then you'll get this shirt, but only then. And then the shirts are just cool designs anyway. So even if nobody gets it, you're still looking pretty friggity fresh. So what would my favorite Nicolas Cage movie be? Leaving Las Vegas, or adaptation, probably. Maybe National Treasure. I don't know. He's got a lot of good ones. Matchstick Men is in the top 5, probably. But if I had to choose one Nicolas Cage movie, Leaving Las Vegas would probably be number 1. Probably. Or adaptation. Maybe. So guys, please visit the merch store. Oops, sorry about that. Visit the merch store, grab yourself some shirts. We've got a nice little commercial here that we like to play for y'all. But you can see some of the designs that we have. We have them for, you know, genre movies, like horror, but then we've also got some that are kind of universal, like the Joe Blow logo shirt, you know, or just regular sayings, things of that variety. So you guys, please subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoyed this live show. You can always come back next Friday at the same time, and we're going to be doing this all over again. So if you didn't get your comments read or you didn't get a shout out on this episode, I do apologize, but thank you guys so much for all of the comments and interaction. I do love getting distracted by that stuff, specifically because it's more fun to talk directly to you than to just state my thoughts. So thank you, Ragnar. Thank you for enjoying it. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys had fun. Have a great Friday. Have a safe weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out. And then I like fade off. Peace out. I'm fading off.